Alrighty. Bienvenidos, everyone. Today, my name is George Barahona, and I am the marketing liaison at Calle 24. And today we're going to go and interview Mary Travis Allen, the board president of the American Indian Cultural District. And we want to learn more about what is the American Indian Cultural District. And I'm going to pass the microphone to her so she can introduce herself and to everyone watching the video today.
Hi, thank you very much. My name's Mary Travis Allen, and as you indicated, I'm the advisory board president for the American Indian Cultural District. I have been born and raised in San Francisco, so I'm native. My mother was Mayagna Ortega from Nicaragua, and my father, Seneca, from the Allegheny Reservation up in New York. Been an activist here in the Bay Area all my life, and it's a pleasure being here.
Awesome. And today we are kicking off Fiestas de las Americas, and we really wanted to start out with North America, since we're going to go top to bottom, but we're specifically going to have the American Indian Cultural District represent the Americas. And we're going to start off with a few questions. We're going to ask a little bit about what the American Indian Cultural District is about, American Indian culture, and a few more fun things here and there. So I'm going to start out with the first question. And this one is, the United States was founded on unceded land. Can you explain what that means and what work the AICD has done on this? Why is it important to acknowledge this during Las Fiestas de las Americas?
Sure, thank you. First of all, for those folks that aren't familiar with the term unceded, it means that it was never given up. It was stolen, it was taken. So it's unceded. And just like the name America, that was a name given to us by lost people who named it after somebody who was part of their conquest, if you will. So Native people, the borders, they were made by the colonizers. So there's Canada, North America, Central America, South America. They're all Native people who have been and still are. And so the distinction obviously is who the conquerors were, and their descendants who have maintained this mindset that, the land is property. And we didn't see it that way. That's why they came in, they were lost. They said, well, if you guys say you don't own it, then we'll take it. Land provided our health. Our Earth Mother provided our health, provided our sustenance, and our responsibility as being, co-inhabitants of this Earth Mother was to respect and take care of it and the medicines and stuff. And I think that all of us, even now when people talk about global warming, we spoke about that. It's part of our prophecies that if you decimate, the forest and stuff, there's going to be fire, there's going to be turmoil. So, so for the Fiesta de las Americas, obviously it's the celebration of all of the Americas. And it brings us more collectively and cohesively together because we are of one spirit.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that answer. And we're going to go on to our second question for the day. And can you talk a little bit about the history of urban natives in San Francisco and specifically the Bay Area?
Sure. Thank you for that question.
Yeah.
First of all, we have to acknowledge who are the first peoples here. It was the Ohlone people that lived on this land, and specifically in San Francisco, it was the Ramaytush Ohlone people. And this was Yelamu. Before it was called San Francisco. And again, that was brought by the colonizers and the missionaries. Again, it was stolen. And the people here were enslaved to build the missions, and they were exposed to disease that they had no defense. And it all but totally, I think there's like a handful of descendants of the people here from this land. When we talk about urban, that was a term that came after the relocation of people from the reservations. In 1956, there was the Relocation Act, and the intention of that by the government, they promoted it as assimilating into the rest of the urban America that will provide you trade jobs and training. And so you can bring your families and live the American life. Well, that wasn't true. That was just another perpetuation of their lies and their deceit, where, the people came here and they found out quickly that, number one, there was no equal opportunity. There was redlining. So, people couldn't live in the preferred areas, so to speak. They could only live in certain areas. And for the people that came to San Francisco and the Bay Area, they typically went to the lowest income neighborhoods. Here in San Francisco, that was like the Tenderloin and the Mission District. And it was, redefined as the Red Ghetto because the Native people were going there and had to try and adjust to living here in the city. We became an intertribal community, and it made it very difficult to try and maintain traditions and practices here because there wasn't any traditional spaces. And so, there was prejudice, there was police brutality, unemployment, homelessness being experienced throughout this urban life here. And of course, the lack of visibility, because, just like they didn't want to see people of color, they certainly didn't want to see Native people that would tell them, it's our land, you stole it from us, and look what's happening. In that turmoil, we had meeting places throughout the city, and some of them, there was a bar on 16th Street where our community would gather and they'd be able to talk with each other. There was other locations that we built throughout the city, but it was and still is a struggle, Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much for answering that. And I have another question to kind of top on that regarding a physical place for the American Indian Cultural District. Now it is, how long have you guys had the Cultural District Hub, the physical location? And how important is it to have a physical location here in San Francisco?
So that's a two-part question, obviously. The Cultural District was established in March 2020. And, when you think about it, just in terms of the first peoples here in this land, at this point, we've been the last to establish our Cultural District. So, where does that make sense? But again, in the list of priorities of this city, that's how it was. But the importance of it is it provides for us a cultural hub, like you said, right? It promotes our visibility. We can say that, in case you guys didn't know this was Native land, in general, we now have a specific area. And a lot of the area was, an area that our folks were living in to begin with. And that we had our American Indian Center, we had, our gathering places,
Mhm.
and that our people gathered and socialized to begin with. It it allows us to tell our history, to gather our information, to create, because a lot of people speak about American Indians in the past tense,
Mhm.
that we went away with, Tonto and the Lone Ranger, and that everybody looked like that. If you're Indian, you have to wear headbands and
Mhm.
stuff. No, there were many tribes, many representations, and certainly in California, a lot of different representation in that. What's equally important is for our youth to have an identity. We have the highest dropout rate. We have the highest suicide rate, among our youth.
Mhm.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they don't see themselves represented, when they have to sit in classrooms and hear a history that's full of lies and doesn't represent them. And, it will, in having this cultural center, we established having a physical location just within the past few months
Mhm.
out at Fort Mason. And with that, it is going to be a cultural hub with us, where we'll have the International Treaty Council, the Restoring Justice for Indigenous People, the Association of the Ramaytush, Ohlone, Save California Salmon, and it will
Mhm.
serve also as a satellite location for the American Indian Cultural Center. So it brings together a lot of groups and
Mhm.
identification. And then we're going to also be able, and have started doing that, in working with local groups in putting banners up in the district so that people will recognize that's the American Indian Cultural District.
Amazing.
And, reframing the concept of what Mission Dolores represents to us,
Mhm.
and that there are still sacred sites here.
That's amazing. Um, that I'm really touched by what you just had to say about that. It's really heartwarming to know that there's a hub here in San Francisco for the American Indian Cultural District, and just kind of how it is here in the Latino Cultural District, where you can tell where, Calle 24, that's where that is. And I'm really happy to see the American Indian Cultural District expand, and all the amazing work that has been done and that will continue to be done.
Thank you.
And on top of that, we're just gonna start wrapping it up here. I know it's a little short, but I think what we asked was very informative for kind of a first time, because even the Latino Cultural District is a concept that a lot of people still have. The Japantown, the LGBTQ, it's still a fairly new, it's not even 10 years old to have these cultural
Yeah.
districts in San Francisco. So I think that was a very amazing kind of starter introduction. Obviously, we'll have many more in the upcoming years, more videos and more ways to educate our community about all these different districts here in San Francisco. The next thing we want to talk about is, now that we're starting off Fiestas de Americas, we want to ask a little bit about the opening ceremony in front of or the 1 year anniversary of the cultural hub opening on was it Saturday, September 25th from 12 to 3.
Right.
I was wondering if we can hear a little bit about that, about honoring the voices of the past and elevating the future.
Yeah, like you said, we're going to have it. It's going to be at Fort Mason in the
Mhm.
Great Meadow Park there, which is on Bay Street right off. And it's, we're going to give recognition to a lot of people that have helped establish us. But more importantly, it also establishes for our community to say that, culturally, we always respect our elders in the past. because, they struggled and they laid the pathway for us to be here presently.
Mhm.
And we're present with a conscience, right?
Mhm.
We have to honor those that came before us. We have to respect and build with what we have now. And we
Mhm.
have to lay the pathway for our youth, so that they don't feel lost. And so this celebration is going to bring that all together. It's a start,
Mhm.
and for us culturally, when we do celebrations, it is our spirit, it is our life,
Mhm.
we're going to be near by the water, so there's water and what that represents to us. It's a life source, certainly
Mhm.
with Alcatraz right behind there,
Oh
and
yeah.
what that represented and what that statement was about, and is still about, and so we invite people to come there,
Mhm.
to come and learn about us, but let us tell our story, hear what we're saying, hear what we represent.
Mhm.
And if you want more knowledge, we're here to give it to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I just want to leave that off of that amazing note with another event that's going to happen this Saturday, which will be the Fiestas Americas that will be happening all day. And Shirai will be actually with us, starting with an opening ceremony at the BART station, 8 a.m. So we will actually bring you, Pan Dulce, to the personally, just to, we really appreciate everything you guys are doing. Bundles is amazing. But yeah, so we will have this start off our Fiestas event where there's going to be lots of dancing, lots of live streams. There's going to be lots of music performance by different nations from Peruvian, Nicaragua, Brazilian, Colombia. It's going to be amazing. So I just wanted to tell everyone about that event that's going to happen this Saturday. And I really want to thank you, Mary, for taking your time for answering these questions. I think it's important that we tell everyone about your story, our story, and that we can share this really priceless information to everyone in San Francisco. I think it's very important. And your wisdom's amazing. I love listening to you talk about everything. It's really, it's fun to listen to.
I must touch that spirit then.
Yeah, you definitely did. Okay, and just wanted to let everyone know to be connected, join the American Indian Culture District Facebook group. They're also on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. So just type in AICD or the American Indian Cultural District and stay tuned for more videos because this is the first of many. All right, just wanted to say goodbye and thank you.
Thank you. Blessings.
Blessings. Adios, everyone. Okay. And we are